And welcome to RTF Sports Talk. I am Michael Buckcaster. I'm the host of this fine established this afternoon here. And joined, as always, my man, Marcus the Freak. Marcus, how's it going on this Monday morning afternoon, man?
I'm doing great, Michael. How's it going?
Man, it's a beautiful Monday afternoon here in southern Indiana. It's a nice balmy 65 degrees. It can't get much better than this, man. It brings a smile to my heart when weather gets like this, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's that way in San Antonio. It's great weather.
I love it. But before we get too carried away, the people want to know, how was Shazam?
Shazam was pretty good. I mean, I kind of knew it was going to be pretty good because all the critics loved it, but
right.
It puts you back in that place. I thought I was a 12 or 15-year-old kid again. It is really good. It's a really good story. I don't know if you remember the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
That's not ringing a bell, actually.
Okay, Big with Tom Hanks was a very popular movie in the late 80s, and it was about a little kid who transformed through a genie or whatever into being a grown man. So it's kind of the similar situation here. Big was a really, really good movie, and this was like Big but superheroes. So yeah, I mean it was fabulous, and of course it set up the the next stuff. You know, they always have those little sneak peeks of the next DC movie.
A little bit of cliffhanger.
Yeah, they do that. And yeah, no, Shazam is really good. I recommend it for any kid to go see that movie, any adult. I loved it.
So on the Marcus scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
It's about an 8. I mean, 10 being like Oscar movies and stuff like that. So yeah, 8 is pretty good. Yeah.
There we go, guys. There we go. So Marcus the Freak gives Shazam 8 out of 10. Me and my wife are probably going to go on my birthday to check it out. So I'm kind of excited about it, but kind of not. I don't know. I'm not much of a superhero fan, but but guys, if you guys missed the women's championship game last night, you guys are definitely missing out. I believe Baylor was up by 12 points going into the fourth quarter. Notre Dame came back, actually tied it, but Baylor did pull it out 82-81. It was. If you have never seen a women's basketball game, this is a must-see basketball game. I'm sure it is going to be on one of those instant replay games. I mean, it's just
instant classic.
Yeah, like it was just a great game. But Baylor did beat Notre Dame, and if you are a bet man, every 7 years, the last 3 years, Notre Dame has won a championship. So what? This is 2019. So in 7 years, bet on Baylor in the championship game. So moving on to the men's Final Four game, probably one of the most controversial games. Let me put air quotes around that. Controversial games that we have recently seen in our lifetimes here. Auburn versus Virginia. Auburn was up by 2 points with several seconds left. They fouled a 3-point shot, and then Guy hit all 3 shots, obviously, to send Virginia to the championship game. So I'm going to start with that game right there. The Freak over there, Marcus the Freak on the Twitter machine. If you guys are not following him, give him a follow on the Twitter webs. So Marcus, give me your assessment of this game. We will save the quote controversial stuff for a little bit down the road here after the conversation is over. But just tell me what your overall thoughts of the game are. Like, how did you like the game? What are your thoughts about it?
No, I thought it was a fabulous game. I mean, end to end, it was fabulous. You almost hit it on the head. That kid Brown from Auburn hit 4 threes. You said if he hit 5 threes, they're probably going to win.
Yeah.
He was throwing up threes at the end because Auburn was down 10, and then so they against Virginia. So they were coming back with Brown's threes. I thought it was fabulous. And Harper got to the rim a little bit, and I think Brown threw up like a heat check. He was going for his 5th three, and that one probably would have ended Virginia, but it didn't. And man, that was just a fantastic game. Where they made the mistake at the end was Brown, your guy that made the defensive mistake. Jerome was coming up the court, and they had a foul to give, and obviously Bruce Pearl's telling Brown to go ahead and commit the foul, but Jerome lost the ball, And so it kind of went into the back court. I mean, excuse me, it went back past the half court. At that point in time, you have to use your basketball IQ, and Brown's got to stay away from him because he's going to heave a 45-footer. And so he ended up doing the foul to give, and it gave Virginia 1.5 seconds left in the game, and that's where Kyler went up with the shot, and that's where the foul was committed by Doughty. But man, if you just let Jerome dribble that ball off his leg, and all you had to do was just stay away from him, and he's going to heave a 45-footer, and Auburn is going to the championship game. But he ended up doing that foul to give like he's taught. You know, you're taught like robots. These kids are like robots. But you got to have a better basketball IQ in that situation and let Jerome throw up a 40-footer. That being said, it was a hell of a game. America got introduced to Ty Jerome played like an NBA first-round pick that game. He had fallen off a little bit. But Jerome was absolutely fabulous. I think he ended up with 20-something points. He was hitting an array of shots, and I'm talking about Ty Jerome for Virginia here. And he was the difference. He played like a first-round pick. And then the guy I had mentioned last week, Tyler Guy, he's the one that I said, hey, he's got to come through with some threes. And he ended up coming through with a big-time three in the corner. It was 64-60. He makes it 63-64. Then he hits all 3 free throws. And to give him some credit after the game, you know, he's a confident individual because he knows he can make free throws. He's an 80% free throw shooter, but he did mention he was terrified. So I thought that was a little good insight. He said he was confident but terrified. You can be both. And so I thought that he was being very honest there. But yeah, I mean, Auburn just basically blew it with dumb decisions down the stretch. But it was a fascinating game. But what I took away from the game is Jerome showed everybody why he's a first-round pick. And then Hunter ended up showing up, too. Hunter played great defense, DeAndre Hunter for Virginia, but he ended up making a couple of big shots late, too. But I was really impressed with Jerome. For Virginia to come back, and we talked about this last week, from losing to UMBC and to come back and not do the, oh, woe's me, you know, and then they're down by Greensboro, and to make it to this championship game is a big deal, and they probably will finish it now. I mean, they're on a mission. They're the team that's on a mission. They're going to prove that last year was a fluke, and they're exactly proving that last year was a fluke.
Yeah, I definitely hear everything you are saying there, and I believe at one point Auburn was up by 13 or 14 points. I think it was. So that aspect alone shows you that you have to know how to learn how to win before you can win. So with Auburn, the first time being there, the first time Pearl as a coach being there in that situation, because you guys have to think about this. Even though how legendary of a coach Bruce Pearl is, this is his first time being in the Final for him, like himself. He went to the Sweet 16 with his first
Tennessee.
team. With his first
Milwaukee.
team, yeah, and then he went to the Elite Eight with Tennessee a couple times. So this is his first time going to the Final Four ever. So, I mean, like, obviously he will not have the same team next year, but Bruce Pearl now has been there and knows what to expect, knows how to properly prepare his team. Because I watched that post game interview after the Elite Eight game. I felt like he was kind of like, "Hey, we made it. Like I'm happy." That's exactly how Tennessee was in the SEC tournament when they beat Kentucky in a quarterfinal game, not even a semifinal game. And like they were complacent, like, "Hey, we beat Kentucky. We are the best." Yada yada yada, and then they go and get steamrolled like the very next game. So that's really how I felt Auburn was there. And like when they got that 10-point lead, we're like, oh, we can take the foot off the gas. We can relax. And then, you know, here comes Virginia, like clockwork. Come back, tie the game late, you know, put the other team in pressure situations, and they crumble. But now, yes, Virginia, I don't want to take anything away from the Virginia win. I think Virginia did a great job. They definitely deserved the win. They came back and they prepared to win that game. Now, let me get on this half-court shot that you referred to. So there was, roughly 3 or 4 seconds left. Virginia throws the ball in, and then the guy bounces the ball off of his foot, regains the dribble, and shoots a half-court shot. But was fouled for that. Let me stop right there. For any of you fans that are upset about that double dribble non-call, let's be honest. I have a poll going here on the YouTube. If you knew that was a double dribble, I give you the props. But for all those fans that like say, oh, that's a double dribble, only after the I forget that guy's name, like the expert ref dude that the CBS has.
Gene Steratore.
Right. The only reason why I knew it was a double dribble was because he said something. Marcus, I'm sure you were going to be the same way here. The only way you knew it was a double dribble because he said something. My wife played college basketball for 4 or 5 years, however long she played, and she looked at me like, that's a double dribble. Yeah. So for all these people saying that the refs cost in the game, if you knew that was a double dribble, you should be reffing the NBA. You should be reffing the college ranks. So, Marcus, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 95% of people did not know that was a double dribble before that commentator said anything.
The thing of it is, though, Michael, I knew it was a double dribble, but I didn't care at that point because the seconds were gone. In other words, what I'm saying is, when a college player, when you lose the basketball and you completely lose the basketball on your own, you can't be the first one to touch it again. So everybody knows that's rule. Because have you ever seen you watch some college basketball and a player loses on his own, then he kind of gets his arms up and gets everybody out the way because he's like, I can't touch it. One of my teammates hurry up and grab the ball.
Right.
Everybody knows that's a college rule. But in the heat of the moment, I did not think of it at that point because all I was thinking about was, don't foul him. Auburn, stay away from him. Get back. Brown, get back. And then Brown got up into him and fouled him. I thought, oh, my God, that's the dumbest thing ever. The guy was about to heave a 40-footer. You have to have a better basketball IQ than that. Once he loses the ball, there's seconds ticking away. Let him heave the shot. Don't go in there and foul him. Then Coach Bennett gets 1.5 seconds to set up a play. That's just dumb basketball IQ by Brown and Auburn. Everybody should. As soon as Jerome loses the dribble, you've got to yell, "Stay away!"
Yeah,
stay away.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that.
And to be honest, I would have expected them to foul from any other person on the Auburn team, but that Bryce Brown kid. As much as I dislike that kid, he's a very good basketball player, and he's usually very, 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 very smart. So obviously the heat of the moment from everybody there, that is where you have to just you trust your coach. Like, hey, coach said to do this, So
well, that's what he was doing. Brown, he just fouled him. He was doing what Coach Pearl said.
Yeah, and even then, I kind of question Pearl's call a little bit there, because there were 3 seconds left, and you've been playing pretty good interior defense all day long, so I think Virginia's just going to have to settle for a 3-point shot anyways at that point. So I almost want to say just let them play it out.
Let them play it out.
Yes, you had one foul to give. I mean, I feel like in the huddle at that point, you say you only foul if they have a direct line to the basket and you know you're going to get beat. Let them shoot that 25-foot shot. They hadn't been shooting very good from the 3-point line previous from that point. So, but that's why I'm not a basketball coach. That's why I'm a football coach, because I know what to do in a football situation. In a basketball situation, hindsight's 20/20. I can say, yeah, do this now, but heat of the moment, I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. So now let's transition over to that last shot. People are saying, oh, it's 10 seconds left in the game. Swallow your whistle. Let the kids play. Yada yada yada. I think that's the biggest BS comment ever. I think if it's a foul, 10 seconds into the game. It's a foul 10 seconds left in the game. I hate when people say they swallow their whistle with the last minute left in the game. And it irritates me because as a Kentucky fan, I hate to say this, but like PJ was getting fouled like crazy down in that post, and they didn't call anything. There were 3 opportunities for like a foul, and nothing was called. But nonetheless, that kid fouled Guy at the very end. He jumped from point A, landed at point B, as the commentator said. And like honestly, it was another not smart basketball IQ play. Why are you even trying to contest that shot when you got beat on the corner anyways, and then going to the corner the way you did? I mean, like at least run in front of him, not at him. What are your insights on that,
Michael,
a little bit?
You're 100% correct. A foul 10 seconds into the game should be a foul 3 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
Kyle Guy was about to take a fadeaway 23-footer in the corner. If he makes it, hats off to him. If he makes a contested shot like that, hats off to him. Okay, you know that there's nothing you can do about that. Dowdy did foul him. He went from A to B, just like you mentioned. He bumped him, and that altered the shot a little bit.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you got to have better basketball IQ than that. Auburn displayed 2 plays where they didn't have the basketball IQ, and Virginia took advantage of it, and that's why Virginia's moving on to the championship game. We both had Auburn. We both probably should have been right.
Yeah.
But it's basketball and things happen.
Yeah. The only thing I would have not called a foul there, just like my wife said, I have to give her all the props. She's a very smart basketball IQ person because she's played in AAU college basketball, like I said. She's a very, very smart basketball IQ person. She said the only way they shouldn't have called that foul if it was clearly after the shot. Then they probably should have swallowed it and just let it play on. But the fact that he fouled him, I think the ball was still in his hand, maybe like a split second right after. But nonetheless, it was a foul. Kyler Guy, like you said, hit all 3 free throws. Very, very powerful stuff. I don't care. You can be Michael Jordan out there hitting 3 free throws to win the game. That is ice in your veins. You can be like a duck, like he was like a duck on the pond, calm on the surface, but he was like, oh man, if I miss this.
If you remember, Harper got fouled. Harper's an 82% free throw shooter, little 5'11" Auburn guard, right. Jared Harper, and he went 1 for 2. He had made 17 straight.
Yeah.
But he made it 63-60, and if he makes the second one, he missed it. Then it's 60. Then it goes back. They're up. No, excuse me. They're up 3 again.
Right.
So the guy hitting Tyler Guy hitting 3 free throws in a row, that would have tied the game. Would have put the game in overtime. But Harper missed on the other end. He went 1 for 2.
Yeah, and
so you got to have ice water in your veins to hit those kind of free throws. Yeah,
right. And even the girl. I mean, I don't want to backtrack any, but the girl from Notre Dame, she was like 33 or 36 in the tournament and missed.
Arike Onigualie is one of the best shooters in college basketball history, and she went 1 for 2 from the line and cost her team a second chance at her set back to back.
She should have missed that second shot, but
she tried to, but she threw it. Yeah, and then it went in. Those are tricky. Those trying to miss those second ones
and then bounce off right. Yeah,
you got it. She wanted to make it to where it barely misses and it stays around the rim, and her team tried a chance to tip it in, but it ended up going in anyways. But yeah. Onigualie is one of the best women shooters I've ever seen, and she couldn't make those free throws. You have to you got to have ice water in your veins to hit those free throws. You could be a great shooter and miss those.
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely. So let's transition to the other game that happened. The Drake curse is still alive and in effect. If you guys missed it, Drake did wear a Michigan State jersey for the game, and Michigan State got beat by Texas Tech 61-51. Texas Tech defense really showed out, and I just don't think Michigan State was prepared for it. Like I said, I didn't think they've seen any defense like that before, and I think it kind of showed. So Marcus, floor is yours, man. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah,
on that.
we were right on the money on this game. I mean, Tariq Owens was all over the court. Let's hope he plays in the championship game because that'll really help Texas Tech. But Tariq Owens, 6'10", long arms, graduate transfer from St. John's, he was all over the place, blocking shots. I mean, Michigan State didn't breathe. Jarrett Culver, even though he struggled, played really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a defense that's out this world. The old Bobby Knight defense. I mean, they're all over the place, pressuring you, switching hands in your face. I mean, you cannot breathe. And Michigan State had a really hard time. You're 100% correct. They had never seen anything like that before, and it was absolutely amazing to watch. And even the backups that come in when Tariq Owens came in, Odiasi came in and played great. These guys are on a mission. Mooney, we talked about that. Mooney was hitting shots from all over the place. He's this year's maybe Dante DiVincenzo. Let's see if he has one more 6 threes or 5 threes in the gun tonight. We'll see how he performs well. And Moretti, he didn't even really get going. Moretti just made a couple of shots, I believe. So Texas State's fascinating to watch. They'll be the first team. They could be the first team in NCAA history to win a championship with losing their first round tournament game. We talked about that too. That might have been beneficial for them to give them some rest and to think about things. Yeah. But Texas Tech was outstanding. Michigan State was just pretty much swallowed up. They made life hell for Cassius Winston, and Texas Tech's moving on to the championship game, and it's pretty much what we thought.
Yeah, and just to add to some insights to your thoughts there was 3 minutes left in the game. Michigan State cuts the score to within 1, 52-51. They don't score a point in the final 3 minutes of the game. That just shows you what kind of defense is being ran over there at Texas Tech. In the time of crunch time, they buckled down and they shut Michigan State down. In a Final Four game, if you do not score in the final 3 minutes and it's a tied game, like something's wrong. Like either your offense is flawed, which I think Michigan State had a pretty good offense, pretty much like all year. I think they were averaging 80+ points in every matchup that they played, and for them to score only 51 points in that final segment, it sucks for them. But that's even better for Texas Tech because they have the proof that they can do it night in and night out. Like you said, Culver did not have a great game offensively, but defensively he was shutting people down. And it is very hard to play both sides of the court like that, even though Culver has been doing it pretty much like all season. It just like I felt like the you get to a point where you just get so excited and you exert most of your energy before the game even starts. Like I kind of wonder if that didn't happen to him because this is the first time they've ever been in a championship game as far as I know. Like even back in 2018, I don't think they made it to the Big 12 championship game. If I'm this is these kids' first time really on the big stage. Quote big stage, so I kind of felt like there's a lot of pregame hype and he just wore them out, and it showed on Culver's side, on the offensive side of the ball. But at the same time, his defensive game was still there, so I'm not mad about that at all.
No, and then he hit a couple of big time shots down the stretch, and he proved why he won the Big 12 Player of the Year. Yeah. There's very few Kawhi Leonards out there. Usually, great defenders exert all themselves on defense, and then get you a little 10 points on offense.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard is the guy, one of the rare exceptions, can hold the other team's best player to 15 points and then hit 25 himself.
Yeah.
So that's very rare air there.
Yeah. It's definitely very, very hard to do because I played high school basketball. It's nothing like AAU or college or anything just like that. I think we played 8-minute quarters, and I was a defensive specialist, and I know I was wore out only playing 3 or 4 minutes a quarter. So doing it for 35+ minutes a game, I applaud him. And as the announcers were saying, in the game, this is the most underrated lottery pick ever. Do you feel that is the same? First of all, do you think Culver is going to be a lottery pick? Second, do you think he's underrated? I mean, I'm not for sure a conference player of the year can be underrated, But
yeah. Well, the
what are your thoughts
scouts
on
don't have him underrated. I mean, he may not be getting a lot of national recognition. He will tonight, though. I'll tell you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from Lubbock. It's Texas Tech. It's Lubbock. It's not Austin. It's not Dallas. It's not Houston. So
This is his team.
So he is underrated. To answer your question, but the guy can really play. He will be a lottery pick. I'm thinking if he's probably going to kill these pre-draft workouts because he's 6'6.5", can play great defense and can shoot it. So I mean, the guy that's going to easily be the fifth or sixth pick overall. So yeah, so underrated to the rest of the country. Yes, he's not underrated to the college to the NBA scouts. They know all about him.
Yeah, so guys, before we go to break here, this is why you guys need to watch Big 12 basketball. We have a NIT championship, we have a women's championship, and tonight, possibly another championship on tech.
That's pretty remarkable.
But we will talk back that on the other side of the break. So be sure to join us on this other side. We'll be right back, guys.
Where are we going now, or what do you want to do? Okay.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to RTS Sports Talk. I am Michael Buckeister. If you are new to us here on the YouTube channel, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing some content that we are putting out here. Currently, we are going live Mondays and Tuesdays, and Thursdays and Fridays at 1:45 East Coast time, 12:45 Central time. We are live. We're live there right now. I see a couple people in there. Welcome. If you are, be free to interact in the chat as well. I do take a look at that during the show. And if you have any questions or any good insights during the show, I'll definitely bring them up. Marcus the Freak here is a very, very smart man, and lots of insight going on there. If you're listening to us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Speaker Breaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, etc. Anywhere you're listening to your podcast, if you're listening to us right now, consider subscribing to that podcast. Leave us a ranking as well. I'm not asking a lot from you guys, just a simple ranking just to tell us how we are doing. But we are going to stay in the Amateur Association, also known as the NCAA, where pay doesn't matter because, quote-unquote, the player's not getting paid, even though they are. On the other side of the coin, we do have the championship game tonight, Marcus. You do have the Texas Tech Red Raiders versus the Virginia Cavaliers. It is a 1-point spread, but the matchup predictor has a 70% chance going to Virginia. Who do you got winning this game tonight?
That's a little weird, right? It's only a -1, but it's 70%.
Yeah.
Usually a 70% would garner like maybe a -4 or 5. But
right.
Hey, whatever works for them. We both picked. I think, did you pick Texas Tech to win the whole thing last week?
I really can't remember.
I picked Texas Tech to win the whole thing, but that was against Auburn.
Yeah.
I thought the injury to Auburn's best player, ODB, would come back and finally bite them against Texas Tech, because I figured they needed ODB for Auburn, that is, to go up against the Odiasi and Tariq Owens and things like that. But man, Auburn didn't make it, and they should have made it. But I have Texas Tech, like I said last week, winning the whole thing. But like I said, that was against Auburn. I think that Virginia wins this thing tonight. I think this is a great story of redemption. I think that Bennett is going to have his team ready. Not to say that Chris Beard won't, but I just see Virginia cutting the nets down tonight. And a big factor also in that, Michael, is Tariq Owens. I don't know if he's playing, and even if he's playing, he's going to be on a bad ankle, and that's not good to go up against Diakite and DeAndre Hunter and those boys. So I feel that Virginia's going to beat them with Tariq Owens being hobbled. You got a really good matchup of DeAndre Hunter and Jarrett Culver. That's an NBA scout's dream right there. We'll see how Jarrett Culver can do against DeAndre Hunter. It reminds me a little bit of Sean Elliott versus Stacey Augmon back in the day, that kind of matchup. Although Hunter's a better shooter than Augmon. But this is going to be a heck of a matchup. You're going to have. Does Mooney still have all those bullets in the gun left? Because he's going to need them.
Yeah.
Virginia is very comfortable. We talked about that last week. They spread you out. The last 10 seconds of the shot clock, normal teams are scrambling around. They're fine. They're throwing the ball to each other. It's a great passing game. Greg Popovich would be enthralled watching Virginia. I'll tell you that much. And I tell you what, Ty Jerome played like an NBA first-round pick. I just heard Jay Williams earlier on ESPN saying that Texas Tech has the better players in terms of shooting-wise. And I'm going to disagree with that a little bit. Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome, and DeAndre Hunter, they all can shoot the ball pretty well. Clark can, the little freshman. And Virginia has 2 first-round picks. Let me just throw that out there. Ty Jerome is going to be a late first-round pick. DeAndre Hunter is going to go in the lottery, okay? So Texas Tech has 1. Jarrett Culver. Now, I understand Mooney's pretty good. We'll see what his NBA opportunities are. And Tariq Owens, too. He kind of reminds me, Tariq Owens of Texas Tech kind of reminds me a little bit of Nerlens Noel. So Tariq Owens could get a shot in the NBA. But if you're talking right now draftable players in the first round, Virginia has 2 and Texas Tech has 1. I think that makes a little bit of a difference. And I think Virginia's story of redemption here, they're not – listen, you don't get all the way to the championship game, Virginia, after losing the way you did last year. And going to lose this championship game. You don't get here you don't get here just to lose the game. Virginia's going to win this game, and it's going to be real close. And you're talking about the 2 best defenses, Michael. We talked about that last week.
Right.
You got a team in Virginia and Texas Tech. One of them is the leader in opposing opponents' field goal percentage, and the other one is the leader holding opposing opponents' points down. So this one is the first one to 40 wins.
Right.
And I think Virginia gets to 40 faster.
Yeah, and I was looking at my notes while you were talking there from last show. I actually had Auburn because I was on that. They are on a mission. They beat Kansas, North Carolina, and Kentucky all through the road, and I thought it was just their path. Like the path was already written, but I was obviously wrong.
You should have been right though.
Yeah, we should have been. I actually tell my wife that all the time. Well, I should have been right, but yeah. You're right. I didn't do the dishes. but yeah, let me start on the top there. First of all, this 1-point spread. Let's consider that a 12-point spread because points are going to be very, very hard to come in this basketball game. I believe this is the lowest over/under point spread in Vegas history. I did not catch what it was, but it was definitely probably 70, 80 points. It was very, 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 very low. For those of you that are new to the betting world, a over/under is they have the combined score. And if it's over 83 points, you win money. If it's so, if you bet over, obviously under, okay. But this 1-point spread, that is definitely like a 12-point spread. So if a team gets a 4-point lead, this is probably an eight possession game at that point. Let's be honest, because the shooting is going to be so horrible. Halftime score is going to be 19-18. The final score might be 56-51, but I'm going to go on the other side of the coin. I like Texas Tech. I've been kind of high Texas Tech all tournament, even though I did have them losing in the Elite Eight. That's the only team I had in the Elite Eight in my bracket. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, in the Final Four, but. That's here or there. My bracket was busted when Kansas State lost. My cats. But in the end, yeah, it is. I like what you're saying. It's going to be a race to 40. I think it's going to be a race to 50. The first team to 50 is going to win the NCAA tournament tonight. And I think Culver guy from Texas Tech is going to have a great game. I look for him to have 20-plus points in the first half alone. I think he's going to come out, shoot the ball lights out. His defense is going to suffer in the first half, giving Virginia a little like a little bit of hope. And we're actually going to have a glimpse of hey, this could be a really high-scoring game. The second half is going to come out and be sluggish. So my halftime score is going to be 35-33 in favor of Virginia. But Texas Tech is going to come out in the second half, lock down Virginia. They are going to go on an 8-minute drought where they just don't score at all. Texas Tech is going to score maybe 6 points. It is going to be the most boring 8 minutes, half of basketball you have ever seen in your life. But Texas Tech comes out on top, 54-51.
So you have wait. You're having they're winning by, what was the score again?
54-51, Texas Tech.
Okay, yeah, 3-point game. That sounds about right. I mean,
Yeah.
these teams are going to struggle. Yeah, you are going to look at like a 20-20 halftime thing, I believe, if these teams are playing defense the way they normally play defense. So, absolutely. I've got Virginia winning. I'll go 60-57. The only way that it gets above 60 is if it could go in a couple overtimes, because these teams are so evenly matched. I could see a situation where Mooney hits a game tying 3 for Texas Tech, or DeAndre Hunter or the little freshman Clark hits a game tying 3, and then the points will start adding up a little bit if this thing goes into overtime or double overtime. But yeah, you're talking a game's easily going to be in the 50s. I said first one to 40 wins. You say first one to 50. We're right there.
Right.
I have Virginia winning by a couple of points. You've got Texas Tech winning by 3 points. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think the only way, if the game ends in regulation and it gets over 60, I think the only way that happens, if there start having to be some fouls late in the game and they just start getting some some quote cheap points. And I also think that's the only way it will be more than a 3-point game. So you have Virginia. I have Texas Tech. I guess somebody tomorrow can gloat for 5 minutes to see.
Hey, by the way, let me tell you this, Mike. I hope I'm wrong. I'm actually rooting for Texas Tech. So if you're right, I'm going to be happy tomorrow. I'm just giving you my personal opinion. I think Virginia wins, but I'm rooting for Texas Tech tonight.
Yeah. I am rooting for a good basketball game. For some reason I strongly dislike the ACC conference as a whole. I don't know. Is it because of all the North Carolina and the Duke hype? If it's because people consistently say the ACC is the best basketball conference, top to bottom. I don't know, but nonetheless, I want a Big 12 sweep of the championship. I don't know who won the women's NIT. I don't know if the women have a NIT. I think they do, because I remember Kansas State playing in it a couple years ago, but I don't know who won the women's NIT. But I want a Big 12 sweep from the games that I know, because at heart Big 12 has my soul. But on the other,
just so you know, I hope you're gloating tomorrow. I hope you pick Texas. I hope you pick the right team, Texas Tech. Yes.
You know what's going to happen is they're going to get in a tie, and they're going to have like 10 overtimes. They're like, yeah, it's just, sorry guys, it is just a tie.
I hope it's a bunch of overtimes. That's fun,
right?
Yeah.
Except for I got to go to work at I don't want to miss the end.
Yeah, right. Okay, got you.
But on the other side of the break, guys, NBA playoffs are getting shook up. Oklahoma City Thunder is up to a 6 seed now. Don't you guys remember when we were talking to them about an 8 seed just Friday? I think it was. But we will hit that on the other side of the break. We'll be right back.
Is this the last segment, Mike? Okay.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the RTF Sports Talk podcast here. Thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube Live, consider subscribing, and commenting below. If you're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, etc., consider subscribing to that podcast as well. Give us a little bit of follow. But Marcus the Freak, we are back at NBA Talk. There has been some major shakeups in the playoff seeding since we last spoke about it. Like I referred to right before the break, Oklahoma City is all the way up to a 6 seed now. Just Friday afternoon, we were talking about them possible 1-8 matchup with the Golden State, and now they're up to a 6 seed. So the first question that I have for you, you are from that area and you watch a lot of basketball, watching the Spurs and whatnot. Do you think Oklahoma City making such a late season push to get a higher seed is going to wear them out for the playoffs, and they're going to kind of flutter out in the first round?
No, I don't think it's going to wear them out because now the games are getting the playoff. The first round gets really stretched out, so there's a lot of days in between rest, even in between some games. And when they switch venues and they go to in the first round, they go to the other place, the opposing opponent's home court. That takes 2 or 3 days now. And the first round is really stretched out. I don't think rest or fatigue will be any kind of factor with Oklahoma City Thunder. They're probably not going to be the 8th seed anymore. But I tell you what, Tuesday is a huge night because the Oklahoma City is going to play the Rockets, right? So the Rockets are still battling Denver for that 2nd seed. So the Rockets aren't just going to rest everybody. So if the Rockets beat Oklahoma City's Thunder, they could be back to the 8th seed, depending upon what the Clippers do. I know this now for a fact. All my San Antonio Spurs have to do is beat Dallas Mavericks on Wednesday night, and they will not be the 8th seed. That's the only thing I was hoping for. Because like I told you last week, that's basketball suicide to play the Golden State Warriors in the first round. So all the Spurs have to do is beat the Mavericks on Wednesday night, and they'll be the 6th or 7th seed.
That is a little easier said than done because the Mavericks want to ruin that hope whatsoever.
That's true. I mean, no, the Mavericks will come to play. But I think the Spurs will win, and they'll be the 6th or 7th seed. The interesting thing, though, is to see what's going to happen with Oklahoma City and Houston. That's a Tuesday night. That'll be tomorrow night. We can talk about that tomorrow if you like. But I mean, if Oklahoma City loses that game to Houston, they could be sitting their butt back at the 8th seed, and that's not what they want. Even though we want it, that's a great first round matchup: Oklahoma City versus the Warriors. And the Clippers look like they're faltering a little bit. The Clippers, gun to my head, the Clippers are probably going to be the 8th seed, and that's where they should be.
Yeah.
I mean, they traded away Tobias Harris, their best player. And although they played pretty well under Doc Rivers should get some Coach of the Year votes. Clippers will probably end up the 8th seed. Oklahoma City will probably be the 7th, and the Spurs will probably be the 6th seed. So that's the way I see it shaking out. But a lot will depend on Tuesday night. A lot depends on Tuesday night, the positions there.
Right. And just to add to your point about that trade for the Clippers, as soon as they traded him, I thought they were going to tank for the rest of the season, to be 100% honest. So for them, I think Friday they were as high as a 6th seed playing Houston in that first round matchup there. So for them to be even in the playoff conversation as high as a 6th seed, that definitely shows to the coaching ability of Doc Rivers. I do believe. But if the playoffs were to start today, which they don't, we have about 5 days left. April 13th is the first round matches here. Over on the Western Conference, as it stands today, like I said, we have Golden State versus the Clippers, Portland versus Jazz. I think that game is pretty much locked up in the first round. Neither team can go up or down. If I'm not mistaken there. Houston, OKC, and then Denver, San Antonio. Really, I think this is the best case scenario for Oklahoma City to be in that 6th seed. Because I think they are the only team right now that can really compete with the Warriors, and I don't want to see that in the first round game. I want to see that in the championship game. Just so the Warriors have a chance to get wore out. And so the chance of your Raptors, I might be changing my Eastern pick a tad bit. I saw the Raptors play last night or two nights ago, and they are really impressive over there. You had great insights on that. I was kind of low on them all season, but the Raptors they're a team on a mission. I think they are destined to do some good things over there on the Eastern side of the board there. But let's jump over to the Eastern Conference here. As it stands right now, you have Bucks versus Pistons, which the Pistons have fallen from the 6th seed all the way down to the 8th seed now. Boston, Indiana, that matchup is locked. You have 76ers versus the Nets. The Nets have locked a playoff seed the first time in, 10, 12 years, I believe it was. And then you have Toronto versus Orlando. Do you think this is the matchups that we're going to see in 5 days here? Or do you see somebody jumping in there at the very last minute to knock off the Pistons and or Magic?
No, I think this is pretty much set in stone. Um, but the Eastern Conference is real top heavy, and we talked about that.
Yeah,
I just don't see anybody beating Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly,
yeah,
or Boston. It's going to be there. Could be a couple of teams that are going to push the other. Indiana, you say Indiana's playing Boston. Indiana could push
yep.
them, even though they have no Oladipo. That'll be interesting a little bit. But maybe a couple of these teams will get a home game. I like the way the Nets get up and down the court with Dinwiddie and Russell, and then Joe Harris is my guy, man. That guy shoots lights out. If these guys get hot, yeah, I just don't see. I see the four Eastern Conference teams, the 1 through 4 seeds advancing, and I don't see any of those matchups going past Game 5. I think maybe one of those teams, the lower seeds, gets a game at their place, but these are all series that are going to end in 5 in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, the only game I see on the eastern side of the game possibly going past 5 is that Boston Indiana matchup.
Yeah.
I think they match up good at every position, even though Indiana is down their star.
Yeah.
I still think Indiana matches up well against the Celtics, and I really wonder if Indiana was 100% healthy, if they could not beat Boston in that first round game. But that's here or there. Maybe next year we'll find out, even though Boston won't be the same because Kyrie is going to the Knicks. You heard it here first on RTF Sports Talk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And your Indiana Pacers, I love Bogdanovich. That guy
Yeah.
can shoot the lights out of. That guy gets going, run him off screens and everything. Anything can happen when you got guys shooting like that. And I'm a big fan of Miles Turner. I think the guy can beat anybody in the triple threat position. 6'11", shoots threes, can take you off the dribble. He blocks shots. Miles Turner's the real deal.
Yeah.
He just has to get more popular, and he'll start making some all-star teams. But that guy can carry you for a couple of games in the playoffs if he gets going. So I like Indiana too. It's just a shame they lost Oladipo.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd probably be making some noise.
Yeah, I would almost go on a limb and say they may have made it up to the 3rd seed, possibly.
Yes, they would have.
Like if he wasn't there.
Yeah.
But he's not. I definitely hope he comes back healthy. But the one thing I want to discuss about is the Boston Celtics. Hayward has finally shown up and started to play some basketball of old. Before I think he broke his ankle or dislocated his like ankle. He went for 25 points like the other night, and he looked young and he looked fresh. Do you think he is going to make some noise in the in the playoffs, or do you think he is going to be overshadowed by Kyrie and the rest of the guys?
No, I mean Boston's interesting because they have the best depth in the playoffs.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
nobody that can bring players off the bench like the Celtics. They actually have the opposite problem than the Nuggets. The Nuggets, nobody can name their bench players, but the Nuggets have a good starting 5. Boston can wear you down. They will be able to wear people down in the playoffs. That's going to be a great second round matchup. Who they got in the second round? They're playing Boston. Are they playing Toronto or Milwaukee? Where are they at now?
It is the winner of the Bucks Pistons as of right now.
Okay, that series is going to be absolutely terrific. The
Right.
Bucks Celtics series because, like I said, Celtics can wear you down with their depth. This is gonna be a really good series, and Boston is the most intriguing team because they're the team that's kind of floundered. Everybody thought they'd have 65 wins, and you're getting Hayward and Kyrie back along with those young kids, but they just didn't have enough basketballs there in Boston, and so
it definitely took them a while to learn how to play with
So
each other.
their depth is going to be amazing in the playoffs, and they could beat Milwaukee. I'm picking Milwaukee and Toronto in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Boston's depth and they wore down Milwaukee in a 7-game series. Would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, and I definitely echo your pick there. As of right now, like if I see the Celtics play in that first round matchup, they absolutely destroy the Pacers. I might have to pick the Celtics over the Bucks at at that point.
Absolutely.
So, but like Marcus was what Marcus was alluding to earlier, Tuesday is kind of the big game in the NBA. You have 5 or 6 really big games that will basically set the table moving forward for April 13th.
Right.
Most teams have 2 games left. There are a couple that have 3 games left, but I believe Wednesday is the final day in the NBA. So we'll definitely hit that hard on the 13th. Or sorry, we won't be here on Wednesday. That next Thursday we'll definitely hit that hard, and and definitely have the NBA draft coming up as well. So we'll hit that later.
Yeah, let's talk about the NBA draft. That's going to be fun too. Yeah.
Or sorry, and the NFL draft too. The
NFL draft is great. Both of them.
That is what I meant. Is the NFL draft is coming up at like as well. So here later in the week and next week, guys, we'll definitely start hitting the NFL draft hard. If you guys want us to talk about a particular team in the NFL draft, Marcus has a lot of knowledge like over there, and then Matthew Lyle is coming back as well for those longtime viewers of RTF Sports Talk. He has a lot of knowledge like as well. I want to play a game possibly starting next week. Like Marcus, you will be the GM of the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders or San Francisco Raiders, whatever city you want to put in front of that, the Raiders. And I want to know what you would do as a GM on that side of things. I think that would be a lot of fun and just kind of some insights. So, guys, if you are in the chat on YouTube, give us a hashtag and your team name. Obviously, I want hashtag Chiefs. Marcus wants hashtags Cowboys. So we'll definitely play that a lot. And there was a lot of free agency stuff that we got to get to as well on tomorrow's show. I've been meaning to talk about that for a few days. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit more time, Marcus. But spring ball has taken my life over on these Mondays and Wednesdays, unfortunately. But I wouldn't have it any other way. So before we leave, I'm giving you guys a little bit of insights of what's coming up in the next couple shows. So we got NFL free agency, NFL draft, NBA draft, NBA playoffs, Zion taking money from Nike.
Yeah.
All that, guys, coming up tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. Marcus, any closing thoughts?
Well, I can't wait to see tonight's game. Is Virginia going to be the story of redemption? You know, that's a big deal. You can't a 16 beating a 1 is absolutely amazing, and for you to come back all the way to the championship game and win the championship, that is a major story that not too many people are talking about. I mean, this is a heck of a story.
Yeah.
I think Virginia gets it done in this story of redemption. I had Texas Tech winning the championship in the Final Four picks. That was against Auburn, but this is against Virginia, and I think Virginia's on a mission. I think Virginia gets it done tonight by 3 points.
You know, and just to echo your yes, I'm picking Texas Tech to win simply because I want to be opposite of you, and I do love the Big 12 conference, but I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia won. They're a really good basketball team. I might even say they're a great basketball team. Their defense / they have 2 NBA picks, maybe even 3 in the future. So we're just hoping for a good game, like in the end. Marcus and myself are both college basketball fans. Both of our teams are are not in it, so we really don't have a rooting interest besides our picks. But guys,
I'm just praying the officials don't make a bad call tonight and ruin it.
Right, like it would be horrible to say, "Oh, Virginia, they missed another double dribble call on Virginia," and we're going to hear it for the next 9 months. Oh, the only reason why Virginia won the championship was because in the Final Four they missed a double dribble call, and then they missed that same exact double dribble call in the championship game. Like, wouldn't that be something if that game ended the exact same way for Virginia? Both times they get fouled on a corner 3 and they win the game.
Right.
But guys, join us tomorrow, 1:45 Eastern Time, 12:45 Central Time on YouTube. Shortly after that, be up on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, etc. We also replay the stream that you guys are watching right now on YouTube on our Facebook page, RTF Sports Talk, usually about 10 o'clock at night, Eastern Time. So join us for that as well. But with that being said, guys, we out. Have a good day.